Tonight, Britain faces a growing weather emergency as Storm Claudia unleashes one of the most violent flash floods Wales has seen in years. The town of Monmouth was hit hardest. What began as heavy rain quickly transformed into a terrifying surge of water that tore through streets, smashed through doorways, and trapped residents in their own homes. By dawn, much of the town centre had disappeared under a muddy, swirling lake. Just after midnight, residents reported hearing a roar, not thunder, not wind, but rushing water. In the darkness, they could not see what was coming. When lights came on, the reality hit with full force. A torrent had burst into the town, sweeping through streets, and driving into buildings with such intensity that doors were ripped off their frames. Fire and rescue teams were already scrambling. Within minutes, a major incident was declared. For the people of Monmouth, the night became a battle for survival. Families woke to water pouring into their homes. Some climbed onto furniture, some moved upstairs, dozens were trapped, cut off by the rapidly rising flood. Emergency crews arrived in boats, navigating what had become a fast-moving river layered with mud, debris, and broken pieces of the town itself. Their message was stark: the water was dangerous, unpredictable, and capable of killing anyone who stepped into it. When morning came, the scale of the disaster was impossible to ignore. The lower high street was submerged, cars were half underwater, shop fronts shattered, and the ground floor of the town centre was lost beneath a brown, swirling mass. Marks on walls showed just how fast and how violently the water had surged in overnight. Residents stood on higher ground, looking down at what was once their normal life, now transformed into something unrecognizable. One woman described being woken by a crashing sound. She reached for a torch, opened her door, and froze when she saw a wall of water pouring past her home, destroying everything in its path. Her doorway, like many others, had been smashed in by the pressure. She said it felt like the town was being swallowed. The fire service warned that conditions were still unstable. Even though waters had dropped slightly, they stressed that flood water was not just water. It was fast, toxic, and laced with hidden dangers. Hidden currents, electrical hazards, and contaminated debris meant anyone walking through it was putting their life at risk. Their message repeated again and again: stay away, stay out, do not enter the flooded zone. But the crisis is far from over, for severe flood warnings remain across Monmouthshire, the highest possible level, meaning there is still a significant threat to life. More rain is expected, rivers remain dangerously high, and saturated land means any additional rainfall could trigger a second surge without warning. For local businesses, the damage is devastating. Shops that survive the night now face weeks, if not months, of cleanup. Many have lost stock, equipment, and structural integrity. Insurance assessors will struggle to keep up. For homeowners, the emotional toll is becoming clear. Years of belongings destroyed in hours, flooring, furniture, appliances, and treasured personal items soaked beyond repair. Some homes may be uninhabitable for months. And the psychological impact, the fear of water returning, the suddenness of the disaster, will not fade quickly. The bigger question emerging tonight is whether the UK is prepared for storms of this intensity. Storm Claudia may not be the last. Weather experts warn that the frequency and strength of sudden flooding events are increasing. A combination of saturated soil, rising river levels, and more violent rainfall, placing pressure on towns that were never designed to withstand these extremes. As Monmouth fights through the immediate emergency, attention is turning to the wider picture. How many other towns sit vulnerable tonight? Are flood defences adequate? And what does this mean for the rest of the winter, as Britain faces turbulent weather patterns that could turn dangerous with little warning? For now, the priority remains safety. Emergency crews are still working, roads are closed. Residents are being advised to avoid the town centre entirely and keep routes clear for responders. Helicopters, drones, and rescue teams remain on standby as authorities track river levels hour by hour. What happens in the next 24 hours will determine whether the situation stabilizes or escalates into an even larger crisis. Monmouth is not alone tonight. Britain is bracing, watching, and preparing. Storm Claudia has shown how fast things can change, how quickly a town can be overwhelmed, and how fragile our defenses can be against the raw power of nature. As recovery begins, questions will be asked, but for now, the focus is simple: protect lives, support communities, and ensure no one else is caught in the path of the next surge. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and we will continue to bring updates as this situation develops across Wales and the rest of the UK.